You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Got another episode coming up with my buddy Chris Burht, a friend from high school who's, I guess you could say, so you're a sheriff
Yep, I'm a deputy sheriff. Yep.
for the town of...
For Worcester County.
For Worcester County, not a town. It's actually a country. Not a country either. It's actually a place.
It's a little bit smaller than a country.
It's a district. But that's cool. So is that something you've always kind of wanted to pursue? Because I know you as like the military kid type kind of deal. Your family was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
So is that really where your passion for that kind of gets inspired from?
Actually, I kind of fell into my dad's footsteps. My dad works for the sheriff's office too, and I grew up with the military thing. But I grew up. I tell everybody I was like born in a cop car. Believe it or not, when the day I was being born, my dad was in his cop car driving to PRMC with me. Well, obviously my mom, about to have me, and we were going to PRMC. So technically, I was pretty much born in a cop car.
You were formed by the law at the very young age of unbirth.
Exactly.
That's a crazy thing, man. I was born on like New Year's Eve, but I was in the hospital when it happened, like most individuals. It's cool though that you're chasing after something like that. So that's a passion you really took on from. So is it more of a family influence, not really something you kind of just picked up like as a little kid?
So my dad told me, he said, "Do what makes you happy," but believe it or not, he told me not to become a cop.
Why is that? Is it because it's how stressful it is?
Just because working long days, long nights, things like that. You don't see sometimes you see really good sides of people, sometimes you don't. He just didn't want me to go down that path and see it, and do it. But, I worked for Ocean City for 3 summers, and that's where I was like, all right, yeah, I like this. I like doing this stuff.
So, as an Ocean City cop, you worked as one of them. Now,
Yeah.
a bike cop with the shorts and all, too?
No, I didn't wear the shorts. I think the shorts look kind of weird, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird. Being Jonah
I
Hill.
I wore the pants.
It's funny because do you think your dad had that fear for you going into being a cop just as the fact of he knows what so many things, like the dangers of it? Or do you think that he's just afraid that you're just going to be stressed out all the time because he knows the stresses? Because nobody really takes into account what being a cop actually means. Everyone looks at the news and sees all these people saying, oh, cops are pigs, cops. Everyone has a very subjective attitude towards a cop. Don't get me wrong. There are times that I've been pulled over where it's like the cop's just trying to give out a ticket. Either he needs to meet a quota, I feel like, or something, which I understand happens. You have pressure in all aspects, whether it's in your own department, whether it's in your own system, but your guys are really there to help. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just saying that because you're a cop. This is how I feel. I'm going to be completely, helpful in any situation that it requires when it comes down to the law. I'm not a lawbreaker myself, but when it comes to, I got pulled over one time with Skylar when we were at Royal Farms eating chicken in a parking lot at 2 p.m. We were eating chicken. I got out of the car and dusted off some chicken crumbs out of my lap because I just ate like a slob. So it was like he asked me if I was hiding drugs or something, then wanted to search my car. Really, we were the only ones in the parking lot. I mean, I understand where he's going, where you have to kind of be on your toes about every situation that might seem a little bit odd. But I feel like when it comes to some cops, there are that take the road a little bit too far. They take their power and authority a little bit to like, hey, do this, do that. And I feel like that's mostly what society focuses on. But they don't even think about the good ones, the ones that help out in neighborhoods that are less efficient, really, when it comes to like kids that are just trying to play basketball, don't have a hoop. There's cops that buy hoops with their own money, and it really depends on where you live, and it depends on the person who is the cop. First of all, asking anybody to be a cop in general is the hardest thing to do. It's like basically like a teacher, and it's like being a firefighter. These types of jobs that everyone kind of takes for granted or either shits on or something, you guys don't realize the amount of effort it takes to be a teacher. They're trying to teach an individual class of 30-something students and then give each one of them appropriate time and fit to their needs, even though everyone's got different learning capabilities, different speeds of learning. Everyone's interested in different topics. And when it comes to being a cop, you got to focus on the dangers. Does the person I'm pulling over have a gun? Does the person I'm pulling over have, are they nice? Are they in a good mood? Are they at the level 10 and you're at the level 1 where they're like, how the hell did you get to 10 already? Mm-hmm. And they're just pissed off because they didn't get the extra taco with their taco meal. It's like, seriously, and the amount of stress that comes from that, I can see where your dad would be very subjective towards you even joining the career.
Yeah, like you were talking about, cops, writing tickets and everything. We actually wear a lot of different hats. So, yeah, you see your guys, doing, traffic stops, things like that. But, we're also psychiatrists, mental health counselors, marriage counselors. Domestics is like one of the most common calls you'll get as a cop. Two parties arguing that live together.
So domestic disputes, basically. I mean, that's got to definitely happen a lot.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You got to be, first responding, medical, I wouldn't say an EMT because we're not at that level, but we definitely get medical training. So, if we roll up on an accident and this dude's got, or guy or girl has a really big cut, we have to provide care. So we wear a lot of hats, and we don't just write tickets. Actually, I tell everybody all the time, Ocean City was fun, but my favorite call that I ever got in my 3 summers working there was a 4-year-old got lost on the boardwalk, and we reunited her with her parents. So that was
that's a heartwarming moment. Yeah,
just seeing the parents' face light up, and the kid light up too, and knowing that we got her safely back to her parents is the best feeling ever.
It's a good situation when it comes to everything kind of being worked out, especially when you can do your job. I'm not saying that you have to do your job like that, but taking especially the effort and the extra time, especially if there's something going on, a dispute, and you're not even clocked in, you're not even on call, but you're willing to be on the scene. Basically, you guys are never not on call. You guys are on call 24/7. That badge is always over your head. It's a title. It's like having your license or your wallet on you. It's always something you're going to carry around with you. And the fear, the knowing that, especially just the aspects of life it opens up to your eyes. It's like taking sunglasses off. It's much like dealing with someone that has depression and getting on medication when they see the cloud get kind of reopened a little bit. Their eyes are just someone brought the color back. You're walking around knowing this constant fear that person could be this potential danger. It's the same thing that we totally take for granted when it comes to just walking around in life. We're just bags of blood, basically, that are just walking around in public. We're so sensitive and we're so willing to hurt each other. And it's hard to see really a lot of the beauty in this world, which is a question I want to ask you. Do you find it since you became a cop and you started learning more and more that you kind of starting to feel it kind of hit you a little bit more in ways where you're kind of being a little bit more put off to going out in the world and seeing the world as a little bit of a crappier place?
You definitely realize threats faster, and you're always constantly aware. They teach you. You're
always aware of potential scenarios, basically, for danger.
Yep, exactly. They so in the police academy, they teach you always be aware of your surroundings and always be aware of exits. So if something goes down, you can get people out, and then you can take care of whatever's going down. So police officers, they have to. In our oath that we take, we're always on call, like you were saying. So, if a crime of violence or something like that is happening in our presence, we have to do something.
Yeah.
Well, so it's
you can't just walk by. I mean, that's something you even if you're eating a wonderful 6-piece chicken McNugget, you gotta put it down and you gotta go help out. Exactly. It's the same thing. Tyler Hall. Mm-hmm. I had him on the podcast, and he was telling me about being a volunteer firefighter. He'll be shopping for groceries and have to put everything down and go to this fire call. I'm like, that sucks. You got Ben & Jerry's ice cream that's got to melt because you have to go stop a fire. And there's some similarities between being a cop and being a firefighter when it comes to the PTSD, first of all. Mm-hmm. Just the stress of the job, always kind of feeling like all eyes are on you. And at the same time, everybody's kind of dependent on you in a way. But when it comes to cops and the differences between the two, it would have to be like firefighters. They are, when they're there, the only time they really ever get yelled at is if they couldn't get something from a fire. Mm-hmm. But they're not obligated to stop a crime if something happens. It's a little bit like, okay, I'm sorry you lost your TV, but at the same time, you're safe, your family's safe, worry about that. And it's just more like people's reaction of anger, of losing their stuff. When you're a cop, you deal with a whole nother world of anger from individuals. This is why I started kind of being nicer out in the world. I kind of cut myself off once high school, just with, bullying and stuff. I think that affected both of us in a way. Mm-hmm. And I know our relationship started off with a rocky start. I don't even know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, dude, I mean, I don't know if I've ever apologized to you for it, but it was like, I always see you because you're kind of like, oh, my dad does this, my dad does, he's a cop, he's all this stuff. And it's like, I was close with my parents, but, like, it was like, they worked all the time. Same for you, too. And I understood it, and I was like, I understood you're just trying to fit in, too, now. Mm-hmm. And I look back at that, I was like, damn, I was an asshole. And it's like, I know I can't be pissed off because it was in 6th grade and stuff, but it's like, at the same time, it's like, now that we're older, and, like, it's the same thing, people come and apologize to me about making fun of me because of my weight at a certain point. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, well, I took the fitness aspect seriously, and I got a little bit of mental problems from it. I have been going to the gym every single day and have not missed a day in 5 years now, going on 6. Wow. And it's like, there's times my body gets told. There's times I have to will myself to go, but I have to go because it's just in my mind to do that. I restrict myself on eating sometimes, too. There's definitely a body dysmorphia factor, but... and I've just come to terms to that, really, like, really accepting it and trying to be a little bit more, like, open on it. Like, trying to fix myself towards it. But not to get onto me. But, you were proud of your dad, basically. That's why you bragged about him. You had a guy in your life that was doing something that most people just take for granted and don't even realize that 911, that's there for us. That's there for everybody to use. It's not something that should be taken lightly, and should be something that should be abused. The cops are out here to protect us, whether you see it in that perspective or not. There are going to be some people that abuse their power and do. It happens in any job form.
Exactly.
There's going to be people that abuse it, but you can't blame everybody. That's like some dude being an asshole to you in a grocery store, and you decide that everyone in the world is an asshole. That's not what it is at all. That's not the focus that it should be on. When I look at a cop, I don't see a guy that's... I treat everybody their own. How you treat me is how I'm going to treat you. I'm going to be nice to you, even if you're an asshole to me, but treat me with respect. Don't treat me like I'm some other person. I treat everyone I meet with respect, whether it comes to helping an elderly person or, just helping somebody in general. And it's definitely a thing that society needs to work on. And I believe the news it has to be a giant thing for you cops to be pissed off at the news all the time. Just turning it on and seeing cop shot another kid dead, cop shot another kid dead. It's like, okay, why are we focusing on that? How about the times that cops get shot at, cops get killed that we're not even worried about? We're just sitting there like, you see it pop up every once in a while in the news, but it's like, do you know how many times the gun violence where there's people killing other people that aren't cops, and how many times there's a situation where a cop might have handled it wrong? You got to understand they're making the call. They're the ones that are taking the time and effort to really, scan a situation. I mean, what are you going to do? It all depends on the person. Mm-hmm. Like, you come on to a certain situation, your partner's going to have a completely different way of handling things, and you got to kind of decide, both of you, to figure it out, like, are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? You know what I mean? And you got to find out the best possible scenario.
That also comes with experience, too. Like, you got, the guy, like, because everybody starts somewhere. It doesn't matter what job you're in.
Yeah.
Whether you're a stockbroker, you're a cook, whatever. Everybody starts somewhere.
It's like walking for the first time.
Yeah. It's, especially in police work, because you're going to be subjected to things that, like, in the academy you learned about, but, like, they didn't really give you good direction on how to handle it, so that's why we have field training. But, like, your guys with experience will be like, Johnny on the spot, boom, 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 we need to do this, where, like a new officer, it'll take some time, but he'll get to the bottom of it, or she will get to the bottom of it. But, like, that whole thing with, like, encounters with people and stuff like that, it all comes with experience, like, learning how to talk to people. I was fortunate to I think Ocean City really helped me in my career, and just learning how to like talk to people and stuff like that. You know, talk them down, things like that. So I think like it definitely comes with experience, but like everybody's got to learn.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything that you do. It's you gotta know nothing to learn something. You know what I mean? And when it comes to being a cop, there's definitely two types of people of the way they think of situations. Mostly when it comes to one, thinking of every possible outcome, what can go wrong in this way, which every cop really has to think about. But there's always the guy that's taking the steps ahead of time to make sure they avoid it. Even though most people try and focus on the what could go wrong in a priority, there's some guy that's going to be focused on every single one. And there's also the people that are like, we'll worry about that when it comes to it, if it happens. You know, the one that wants to kind of live in the moment, not really think 10 steps ahead. But I feel like for being a cop, you want to be thinking 10 steps ahead most of the time, just because you got to be aware, like we're saying, potential dangers.
You got to do both. Like, you got to be in the moment, but you also got to be like, all right, this could happen, so let's go down this road, and be like, hey, man, like, you know, just relax, you know, we're just here talking, blah, 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 blah. And, like, you just kind of, you got to do both. You got to live in the moment, but also think 10 steps ahead. Like, hey, if there's a baseball bat over there. If he darts toward that bat, then we could have a bad situation. So let me get in front of that. And so, like, it all depends on the situation, but, like, you got to be thinking, like, in the moment and also 10 steps ahead.
So, do you feel like when you go to a grocery store, for example, would you be more, like, aware, like, of just potential dangers than if you would have if you weren't a cop? Not really saying, like, being a cop gave you the awareness around you, but more like, you now know, like,
what people are capable of.
Yeah, well, like, a lot of people walk around, like, completely oblivious to other people, thinking that everyone in this world is good, which I wish it was like that, but it's not.
Yeah, if everybody in the world was good, I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
And, you know, that would suck, but...
Do you sometimes kind of hide your badge a little bit? Like when you're... I'm not saying when you're walking around in a uniform, but when you're walking around just normal everyday thing, do you kind of... You don't really go around telling people you're a cop, but like...
No, because like...
Because there's got to be some people that are
now,
so
like,
subjective towards
they'll
it.
Probably, like, I don't want to say they'll probably do it, but like, I don't want to take that risk of like making a scene just because like, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a cop. Oh, really? So how do you feel about this, this, and this? And then a scene comes on just because I said my profession. So
it's the same thing like bringing up religion at a dinner table or something.
Or politics, whatever.
Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's got to throw it in. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I'm sitting here basically throwing my opinion in on cops and everything like that too, even though it's in your favor. You know, with my approvement of cops, like I believe that they're here to protect. That's what they're here for. You know, and they're people just like us. You can't look at them any different.
Yeah. So like, you know, I've talked to a couple of my friends, and I've been friends with them for a while, and they're like, yeah, sometimes when I see a cop, I don't see a dad, or I don't see a brother, or I see a guy in a uniform that, you know, obviously has a job to do, but he's in a uniform and I'm not, and I feel like I'm under him. That's like totally different, like totally like, I don't want to say wrong thing to think, but like that's not how I portray myself. I want to be right here because I don't like getting looked down at. I hate it. So like I'm right here on your level.
Yeah.
So like I work with people, you know. If like, you know, something bad is going down or something like that, I calm the situation down and I try to work with them. Because like I'm not up here. I'm on your level. I'm a human too.
I like to think of that's the same way I like to think of it too. I like to think of in a problem scenario, I like to think of two ways around it. If I get into an argument, I tend to try to stay away from arguments. Not stay away from the person, but stay away from my own view on my own side of it. I like to look at both sides. Who's right? Who's really wrong? Okay, if I get into a argument about something stupid, I'm not even going to continue that any farther. I'm not going to hold any grudges. But if there's an obvious side that you're wrong and I'm right, and I'm just going to think, I'm like, I'll just wait for you to admit. Even though some people are very stubborn to do that, that's a big thing when it comes to being a cop, man. You got to admit when you made the mess up, and you got to admit when there's something that, you know, this person obviously did wrong. So,
like you're saying, like, you got to admit your mess ups. Like, I had a guy that I used to work with in Ocean City, like, the only thing we really got in this job is our word. And if, say, like, you know, you say, like, you don't tell the truth, you're done. in this profession, because you're in court and you're swearing an oath to the judge and the court saying that this is the facts of what's going on. So, like, if you messed up, you messed up. Okay, you'll lose a case. Big deal. But, I mean, like, what we have in this job is our word, like, in our integrity, and that's...
Well, you represent a force, or you basically represent a power that people have the capability to use when they're in trouble. And not only when they're in trouble, but when they're in desperate need of something. Like, if it comes to anything, I mean, you guys handle a wide variety of situations, from handling traffic to handling burglaries to handling robberies to handling, it's probably the same thing as burglaries, but to handling...
they're not. Burglary is like...
more of a home type situation.
Like a home thing, like somebody breaks into your house.
Robbery's
like say if you're not home, then that's a burglary. If you are home, it's a home invasion. A robbery is a theft by force. So, like, you know,
if you
hitting
held
somebody
a gun up to me,
or yeah, exactly. That two totally different things, but yes, we do have to do that. Like,
if I had to ask you about what's the most dangerous call you've ever been on, or one dangerous scene that you've ever had to come across, what would it be? That's probably a tough one, because you really probably think every single scene is dangerous. Whether it's just the kid stealing a candy bar.
I think every cop sees it as dangerous, every scene, because like even like a traffic accident, you got cars whizzing by you, and some people, you know, they don't see the lights or they just don't care. They're trying to get where they're going, and so I'd say probably like, not that I've been on, but I know like totality of like officers around the country, domestics are probably one of the most dangerous calls you'll go on.
Just home fights?
Yeah.
Because
tempers are so high.
Yeah.
Because you got, say like a husband and wife, they are in a relationship together, things like that. Tempers are so high that...
Chicken wasn't cooked right, wife gets slapped.
Whatever it is. Tempers are so high that bringing that down is very hard, and, you know, trying to make sure that doesn't lead to an altercation is tough. So... I'd say probably domestics. Behind that, you know, probably like your regular bad calls like robberies, assaults, things like that. Traffic accidents. A lot of cops around the country are killed in traffic accidents. The bulk of them. You hear about the ones that are killed with gunfire, but not about the ones that are, you know, die in a traffic accident or something like that.
Now, when it comes to the easiest call you've ever been on, what's that? Just like trying to find somebody, or trying to...
I wouldn't say
any of them are easy. I wouldn't say any of them are easy. A lot of them, even a lost child who's on the boardwalk and you find him a street down from his parents just sitting on a bench. That's not, I wouldn't really say an easy call, but it's easier than the ones that are, you know, people getting beaten and like threatened and someone has a gun out and stuff. I'm just asking, like, what's your like just like traffic violations, basically, speeding.
That's probably like your everyday thing. You'll get some kind of traffic infraction. And there's a lot of like, I wouldn't say easy calls, because no call is ever ordinary. Like, you know, you hear on like a lot of police shows just doing an ordinary traffic stop or an ordinary cops. Whatever it is. No call is ever ordinary, because calls that we go on are dynamic. They're always changing and evolving. So,
well, there's always a part where it could escalate to something bigger. And there's like I think there's a question I got to ask you that everyone out there is probably wondering the same thing. And do you find that it's bullshit that you guys can use a laptop in your car and I can't text and drive? Or do you find that you guys are able to use a laptop, because not only are you using it for your job, but seriously, half the time, how are you using it for your job? Do you ever go on Facebook or something?
No. So our computers in our cars are strictly for our mobile data terminals. So like we can pull report numbers, maps, especially for in the county. You got roads that are way back in the woods and you need your map for it. I can see where people think that, you know, hey, that's wrong that I can't use my phone, but you can use this laptop.
People are going to use their phones anyway. So
yeah, I think like if we didn't have those computers, our job would
be hella harder, man.
It would be harder, and our response time would be like longer, because you know you get a new guy coming out here on the road, and he doesn't know where it's at, like things are at, so he's got to use his maps on his computer. and it helps like relaying information because your dispatcher will put in the call like what's going on, things like that, and so everybody can see it, and everybody can see your location. Say if I call out a traffic stop, then everybody can see where I'm at in case something goes south.
Oh, I would not want a computer in my car because if I could look up anything, it'd be seeing some weird stuff on there. Why is he looking up freaking what to eat after a workout? And why is he now looking at dogs and lions and sloths on what to buy? It's like, dude, you should see my Amazon shopping cart. It's like the weirdest variety of things. I got a bidet in there for the toilet, and then there's something like hand towels, and then there'll be like a boat. And it's like, what the hell is this kid looking up? It's like, you don't know what I do at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm on Amazon going nuts looking at them trending deals and stuff.
And like we have our emails on our computers too. So like they tell us like, they tell us like law enforcement information, things like that. If something like if a car was stolen, we'll get an email about that, something like that.
Like an
so,
APB out on somebody.
Mm-hmm, I think that like the computers are definitely helpful.
What's the funnest part about your job, I would say?
Definitely helping somebody out. Like I changed a tire for a lady, and she was like ecstatic, and that like left a good feeling, and left a good feeling in me. So definitely helping somebody is like my favorite part about it, because everybody that gets into this job wants to help people.
Plus, you feel like a badass afterwards.
Well, I wouldn't say
Dude,
that.
when I help someone throw groceries in their car, man, I'm like, yeah, I fucking did that. Even though I kind of like, you're welcome, no worries or anything, and then they offer to tip
because
you.
if I was on the other end of that and I needed help and a cop helped me, I'd feel great.
Yeah, but you look like a superhero.
Yeah.
That's what I like. That feeling. I'm selfish when it comes in that aspect. I like the glory of being like, nah, it's all good, no worries, have a safe drive home, and they're like, in their eyes, I'm like freaking Superman walking out with the curly hair.
Yeah.
But when I mean saying, I understand that's fun and that's a very modest answer of you, but I'm talking about, Robbie to Chris right now. What's the funnest part about your job? You can't tell me taking that cop car out for a ride. Dude, don't even give me that crap. The cops don't do that. I've seen some state troopers race on the road before. I've seen them like, there is no call, there is no need for their lights on. They're both driving side by side, and they're proving whose dick is bigger.
I mean, if you see like a cop going lights and sirens to somewhere, it means something's going down. I'll be honest with you, it's fun. Turn the lights and sirens on, you're getting pumped up like you're going to a hot call.
It's the same thing like driving an ambulance. Sometimes that light turns red and you're not trying to sit at it. They'll just flick that thing on real quick. I'm like, why'd you just turn it off? Did the call get canceled?
Well, actually, we have cameras in our car, and they get reviewed by our supervisors, and like, if something like that happens, like, you can get in trouble for it because it's improper use.
You just gotta get in with your supervisor.
Because we're at will with the public, so like the public, it's not like just because I have the lights means like I can go anywhere.
No, you're representing an image.
Basically. Exactly. If there's a hot call going on, and I'm at a red light, and I flick my lights on, I have to wait until all cars stop because I could be held liable if I get into an accident. So there's a lot of liability that people don't know about that, like.
You also can't just flick your lights on when just to pull over a car so you can get in front of them. You can't really do that unless you're going to something like you have a call. But if you're just doing it to get to Walmart faster, yeah, like you got to realize you're representing an image. You guys are a brand. You're a label basically. It's like when you wear a Nike hoodie and I'm wearing an Adidas hoodie. It's like you're now representing like basically however you act as someone's gonna see that kid and be like, oh, people that wear Adidas clothing are assholes. If I'm an asshole, it's subjecting that, but you're also representing our flag. You're representing our country. You're representing our town. You're representing everything that is law enforcement in this area.
I like to use the term like I represent the people.
You represent us,
county.
yeah.
So, like somebody out of town, like comes in and they're like, that was a good cop. And he treated me really good. I mean, this must be a nice area, which it is. We have a lot of support from our local community, which is amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But like when they see that, they're like, "Oh, that's awesome." So,
well, you got to understand the people that are around here too. I believe that the support for cops and law enforcement and really any division it really depends on the factor of the people that are, like, the culture and just how the cities are and how the towns are. When you find somewhere like Ocean City, it's a small surfer town, kind of filled with older people and surfers and more chill back kind of vibe. You're finding more support from your local community because of how, you know, we're all, it's a small town, so we're all kind of close together, and we're all really not hyped up in really bad scenarios. We're not really worried about potential dangers, like on every corner, like shootings every single day. We don't have that here. Yeah. But when you deal with going down, if you went to Baltimore or somewhere a little bit more urban, or I'm not trying to be, you know, justifying urban in that type of way, but being a little bit more
in a city.
Obviously, yeah,
a city
where people are closer together. That's the problem I believe that society has. A lot of these places that are heavily populated have a higher percentage of crime. That's obviously a fact because of just the number of people that are there, but it's also the fact that we're all not meant to be on top of each other. We're not meant to be so close together. The fact that we can live in a home with a family, even at times you're like, that's why a lot of your calls are domestic. You're a family, like, you know, there's related people in there, but we shouldn't be around each other 24/7. If you don't go to work throughout the day, you're having people that are staying home for months together and not going out and doing anything, just constantly spending all their time together. You're going to hate when that person breathes. And it's got to suck when you're trying to move around or drive your car and you're getting so pent up. Why is it that we're so, like in our cars, so willing? You hear about all these, like, you see all these commercials about driving angry and just like how don't drive angry. It's like driving drunk, and it's like all this type of stuff.
You got to think, if your emotions are running high, you might miss that red light and you might hit the van full of kids or something like
that.
The
reason why you're running hot and you're so, like, you get pissed off when someone does something wrong when you're driving is because your body is in a state of awareness. You are literally physically worried about every possible outcome, whether you're oblivious to it or not, whether you're focused in, like, being aware that you are aware, but you're always, your mind's like, I'm in a machine that's going 60, 70, 30, 50, whatever miles an hour.
It's the largest weapon in the world is a car.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, nobody really, we just take that for granted when you hop in and go down to the grocery store, go to the gas station. You don't even realize you're driving something that was made by man, and it's producing emissions, if we want to go into the ecological factor of it, but also, like, the fact you're in a machine that can end somebody's life and possibly end your own. But it's also a great source of transportation. But the fact that you have to deal with, especially traffic stops, people are already so aware and aggressive, they don't even realize they're aggressive. You can meet the calmest person at a light, but I guarantee to you, when you walk away from that window after giving them a ticket, they're going to be talking a little bit of smack towards you. Like, oh, why'd you give me this? Why'd you give me that? You know, have an attitude towards you. That's got to be a fear, too, because you don't want to look like the bad guy. But, you know, everyone gets shown these images on the news, and also if you give them a ticket, nobody's going to be happy. If you gave me a ticket, I wouldn't be happy. Honestly, if I messed up, I'd still be like, come on, man, you can't let me slide. And you probably get that all the time if you're pulling somebody over.
There was an old sheriff that used to work for the sheriff's office. He said, you know, we, like you were saying, we live in a very small, close-knit community. I can portray the same message as giving a warning rather than a citation. So I correct what needs to be corrected, but you don't get any points on your license, you don't get any fines, things like that. So I adopted that mentality, like, give people a break. You know,
we're all trying to live in this world together, man. Yeah,
so, like, give people a break and, you know, give them that warning, because I can convey the same message as I can with a citation with a warning.
Yeah. Not
and then that person will be like, oh, he didn't give me a ticket, he gave me a break, thank you.
Yeah, not saying that you're trying to strike fear in them, like, don't speed again, but, like, letting them know, like, hey, man, I'm going to let you slide. You know, level with them. You know, realize that that all depends on the scenario, too. You got a guy that's being an asshole to you for pulling you over, or for you pulling him over or something, he's, you know, you're going to be a little bit like, all right, here's a ticket, man. I can't give you a warning because, you know, you weren't very nice to me. But that's what happens a lot of the times. You got to realize, if we all treat everybody with respect, this world would be so much better. But it's never going to happen. Because
everybody has their different opinion, and everybody has their different way of life, and those things.
Everyone has their different view on the world, too. Some people, like, if I I brought this up before, it's a good thing. If you have two people that are placed in two different separate lives, one given everything, one given nothing, there's two ways those people are going to turn out, good and bad. It's the moral compass. So when it comes down to the person that has everything, being spoiled in everything, expects that in life, or they don't want that in life. They want to find a better way to not chase after that. They want to be, could be a monk where they want to live off nothing. They want to know what it is like to have nothing because they feel happier with it. And then there you can find the person that's placed in a town where they're poor and they have nothing and they're chasing off scraps, living off the street, being homeless and all these things. They can turn into a really good person where even if they only have $1 in their pocket, they're giving it away, or they could turn into a completely bad person and start robbing stores. It's all how we're grown up through life and our experiences. So I definitely think we need to take more time into our education on younger children, just like being a little bit more helpful, but also not being a dick in society. And a lot of people just kind of focus on being assholes and really worried about themselves. Yes, you should worry about yourself, but why are you going to do that at the cost of somebody else? And I know that's probably like, you're probably thinking, why is he saying this right now? But it's like, it's a true thing, and it's really hard to get out there in a message. And I started, when I started getting this podcasting thing going, I always say, it's cool. I like hearing everyone's experiences. Everyone's got a story to tell, whether it's good or bad. We've all been through some shit, whether it's good shit or bad shit. And I just like to listen to, everybody and how they think about the world. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely try to see the good in everybody, but unfortunately, sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Especially in the job that you're in. You don't see the good things all the time.
It's difficult, for sure, because just the wide variety of just dangers that you have to face as a cop. And that's something I definitely want to get out there. Another thing is, when you go into a store, do you ever get a meal that's paid for you? Like the guys, you can just have it on the house. Have you had that? It doesn't have to be a store; it can be anywhere.
I've had that happen before, and I appreciate it, but I don't like doing that because I feel like I'm taking from the people I'm supposed to be giving back to.
That's a smart way of thinking about it, man.
So I don't someone might be like, oh well, I'm gonna pay for this, but for me personally, I'm like, I make my own money. I can pay for it. I'm here. I'm at your restaurant. I can pay for it myself. If I couldn't, then I wouldn't come here.
Don't get me wrong. If the guy at 7-Eleven offers me one of those buffalo taquitos, damn right I'm taking a buffalo taquito. There's some nights I go up there and it's 2 a.m. and I'm like, can I get one? And he just gives them all to me. I feel like I just won the freaking lottery. I'm out in my car. And
I've honestly never had one of them.
Yeah.
So,
You've never had one of those taquitos?
I haven't. I try to eat very clean.
Dude, I've been eating clean for 5 years, but back before I ate clean, that's what I did. I would go to the store and get taquitos.
That's one thing, I want to, I told myself, I'm going to, when I become a cop, I'm going to stay in shape, and, I've done a pretty good job of that.
Yeah. You look good, man.
So, I try to stay away from some of that stuff, but, I'll take a cup of coffee any day.
Dude, I drink coffee insane. I don't care. I also eat really sugary cereal, so I'm a health nut. I eat nothing but fish. Don't eat any fast food or anything. But when it comes to bad foods, I eat so much Lucky Charms and Raisin Bran and all these different types of food. Mostly I crush it up and it's gonna sound weird. Put it on top of my salads sometimes. Mostly because I've been eating salads every day for 5 years. You got to spice that shit up, man. You can't be eating the same thing.
It's gonna get old.
That's where spices and condiments really come into general. I'm not dealing into the whole fitness aspect of things because I can literally drone on for hours about that.
I know what you mean.
But the power of the gun, I need to talk about that. Okay. Now, that's not a porno. That is a topic I really want to get into. Having that gun on the side of your waist, that has got to be a blessing and a curse.
So, the reason why cops carry guns, it isn't to show authority or anything like that. It's to protect people.
Even though a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. It's to protect people and protect ourselves. It's not authority. You look in England and they don't carry guns, but also you can look at England and be like, their crime is pretty high. And I personally think if, the British cops carry guns, they'd be okay because most of their cops only have a club or a baton or whatever it is. So, the gun isn't there to, I'm a cop, I got a gun, you're going to do what I say. No, it's there to like, all right, if some stuff goes bad, I can handle it because I have
protection for yourself.
This protection to protect everybody else and myself.
Situation, yeah.
It's a curse as well because...
You also believe it strikes fear into some people?
That, or, like, say, if a cop gets in a fight with somebody, you have a pretty deadly weapon right on your hip that, you know, can be accessed by the person you're fighting. So you got to be aware of that. So it's definitely a blessing and a curse, but we couldn't do our job effectively without it. Because like if I went into a store, I didn't have a gun, and that store gets robbed. I'm just like, all right, I'm here, but I can't do anything. You know what I mean?
I can block the bullet with my mind.
Well, I don't want to do that.
The mind is the best weapon, they say.
It is. I would use my mind every day and twice on Sunday more than I would try to use anything else.
That's because you can...
And my mouth.
You can... that's how you talk down situations. That's probably the cop's most powerful weapon. I wouldn't even... See, for me, though, when I see a cop, I'm like, can I hold your gun? They're like, no, what did you just ask me?
That's not
How
a good
old
idea.
are you? Look, man, I'm 21 years old. I just want to hold your gun. What are you going to do with it? I don't fucking know. It's a gun.
That's probably
What
one
can
of
I
the
do
other
with
guys.
it? Itch my forehead with it? See, I think of the... Every time I think of a cop, there's always the stereotypical, you know, fat cop that's like eating donuts or something. I think of like Homer Simpson.
So
that episode of The Simpsons where Chief Wiggum's eating
he's eating the donut off his gun.
That
Shoots
shit's
himself in his
funny.
hand. He's like,
off,
"Wow, that was close."
And then he starts eating it again. Like that stuff's funny, but
See, like I think, like honestly, I think some of that like portrays a bad image, and that the donut thing started way back in the day, like way back.
Do you know the originality of it?
So, it was like early 1900s, like 1920, 1930, somewhere around there. The only thing that was open at 1 o'clock in the morning was the donut shop making the donuts for the next day. And the cop would go in there because it's the only thing that was open was that. So, that's where it started. And then people started seeing it, and they were like, oh, cops just eat donuts. Like, I refuse to eat a donut. Ever.
I don't like donuts that much.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not that tasty. They used to be when I was a kid, but I feel like once I started getting into fitness, I lost the taste for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's carbs and sugar.
I have to
Bad carbs and sugar.
I have to ask you one thing though.
Mm-hmm.
What's the prime location? Because like you were saying, donut places are the only places open at 1 a.m. What's the prime location where you find, like, you guys just sit out because you know someone's rolling up to the window stoned? I already know the place, but I was just wondering what your answer for that would be.
So, I'm
Either stoned or drunk. What do most stoners or drunk people want at 2 o'clock in the morning that's
it's
only
Wawa.
open? What?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I wouldn't think Wawa.
Wawa.
You know what I would think?
What's that?
Taco Bell.
See,
It's freaking meant for stoners. Their menu is slushies at 2 in the morning.
I think it's Wawa, but like, say like if it's a slow night, I'll go in there and like get a bottle of water or something like that. You know, talk to the store people. And just
See
talk
anything
to them.
suspicious
Yeah,
or
see anything
something.
suspicious, or just talk to them. Just have a normal conversation. Like, hey, how's the night been? Oh, it's been crazy. Like we've had like a rush, and okay, yeah, and just talk to them. And they're the community is definitely our best asset when trying to stop crime, because our community policing, like, you know, going in, having our face shown in the businesses and things like that, really helps. Because like, I do a lot of patrol checks around places. A lot of people do. Go in, you know, I'll go into Wawa and just talk to the people and be like, yeah, you know, if you need me, call me. And like, they might, you know, somewhere down the road, they might be like, hey, this guy came in and he's really shady. He's come in like 3 times in the past hour, and he just stands in the back and looks at people and then he leaves. That might be something to think about, because he could be, you know, looking at like, okay, if I'm going to rob the store, I'm going to go to that cashier and
Scan in the room.
Exactly.
Now,
So,
I have been a subject of, or a victim, I should say, of a bad situation like that, only because I went into a store a couple times because I was waiting for somebody in the outlets, and I went in to use the bathroom a couple of times because I was having stomach problems.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's like, this guy keeps walking to the bathroom back and forth, and told a cop. And next thing you know, I'm being like asked all these different questions, and I just had to be honest with him. Look, man, I had to shit. Like, sorry, it had to happen. This
Well,
same thing.
See, we got to be proactive in our job because in order to find the crime, you got to stop it before it happens.
Oh, I understand. It's the same thing when I think the best traffic when I was speeding one time that I got pulled over for, that I was very appreciative of the cop, was he realized the situation, how serious I had to take a crap. I was driving, I think 10 over in Ocean Pines. He pulled me over immediately. I said, look, man, just give me the ticket. I don't care. I'll pay whatever it is. I need to get home. He goes, why are you in so much of a hurry? I said, I need to shit, like right now. Like, but I said in a respectful way, I need to go to the bathroom. Like it's an I can't wait situation. He goes, I understand. Try and stay under the speed limit and get home safe. And then he walked away. I was like, I don't know if that was legal what he just did, but I appreciate the man, and I'm going.
So police officers have discretion in a lot of things. So he definitely wasn't wrong in saying like, oh, he did something wrong. But it's his discretion. He could have gone like, okay, I'm going to write you a warning, or I'm going to write you whatever. Or, like, he could have done what you did, or what happened to you, and just be like, all right, man, just, slow down and get him safe.
I really hope he heard what I said when I was driving away. I said, I'll send you a fruit basket, and then just started, like, I was speeding, dude. Like, I went the speed limit after that, but I'm telling you, man, I was so thankful of this man. But he saw, I guess, in my eyes when he pulled up to the window, license, registration. I'm like, look, man, if you're gonna give me a ticket, I'll give you my license and registration. I'll let you read anything. I need to go to the bathroom right now. And
like I said, that definitely comes with experience, reading people, and if they're being truthful or not.
Yeah. And there's obviously those people that are pretty good at getting their way out of a ticket when it comes to being a hot girl. You got to kind of judge the scene on that one. But how fun is it for you guys during H2OI week to be pulling over those shitty little cars? You know the ones I'm talking about. And the guys are just acting like assholes, being like, just doing it. And you guys don't pull over muscle cars that much because they're very respectful of the town, first of all. And obviously, they have badass cars. But if you can't tell me if you see a piece of crap car doing something wrong, you see a muscle car doing something wrong at the same time, who are you going to go for?
It all depends. Like H2OI and cruising are actually, like you said, they're two different things because you have H2OI coming down and
a bunch of young kids being disrespectful.
A lot of young kids,
town.
like a lot of young kids, and they got their cars, and some of them are nice. Some of them are high end cars, GTRs, things like that, and they're nice. But I think they get carried away with their stuff a lot. Cruising is a different mentality. Obviously you're gonna have your young kids and your Mustangs and Camaros and things like that doing dumb stuff. But people don't... When we stop somebody for like spinning their wheels, people don't understand that people have been killed or hurt because they've been spinning their wheels, they lose control, and they go into a crowd. That's why we make those stops and things like that. It's all about preserving public safety and making sure everybody's safe. Like, if H2I came down, they did their thing, yeah, it's going to be loud and everything. I don't have a problem with loud cars. I think,
But you also want to be respectful.
Like, you can't be, like, just sitting in a parking lot just burning rubber all day. Like, that's disrespectful to the people that are living here. Disrespectful to guests in our county.
That was the one week. Those are the weekends I really hated living in Ocean City because it'd be 2 o'clock in the morning. You're trying to get sleep, and there's people doing burnouts on your street, and it's like, gosh, guys, really? And I understand they're trying to have fun, and it's only for a couple of days, but it's like still, it's like when people have lives to live, that's where aggression breaks out, and the next thing you know, someone's out in the street with a bat trying to threaten other kids and stuff with getting in their car. I'm not saying I did it, but. I definitely rolled down my window, or not rolled down my window, pulled up my window in my house and screamed, you guys suck. Thank you. Shutting the window. But, it's really all about reading a situation, I believe, when you're a cop. Knowing, like, if somebody calls you, it's some elderly lady saying, hey, this person might be selling drugs, and you get on the scene, it's just 2 kids really just hanging out outside, not doing anything. That probably happens a lot.
That does. So, like, we're given a limited amount of information, and I'm not saying to discredit the public and everything, because we've gotten some very good tips from the public.
Yeah.
But, like, people might not see what might not know what they're looking at.
They're just...
It's like, they might be like, oh, these 2 kids are doing drugs out in the car, but actually they're waiting for their friends inside. We get called to that. We get very limited information. So, we got to figure it out. And, some people might be like, oh, you guys are just harassing us. Like, no, we got a call, and we don't have that much information here.
And we just
like,
gotta be...
I gotta do my job and do my due diligence to make sure, like, nothing bad is happening.
Well, you gotta gather all the facts from the case before you make your judgment on it. You gotta talk to them, and talk to the woman, and talk to them, and talk to the woman, and finally come down to an ultimate decision of what's going to play out.
And it sucks because some people, they're like, I don't want to be met with. Which means, like, they don't want to talk to the police. Like, the caller will not talk to the police.
So then you're just got one whole side
story.
So
we just have the one, we have us looking like, oh, we're just coming up and, because we don't have anything better to do. No, we actually got a call saying, like, hey, these two people are outside in front of this house, and they actually are waiting for a friend that's inside. Or they're looking for directions. Or they're using their map because they went past their exit or whatever. They went past the house they were trying to look for, and they don't know. So we're given like very limited information sometimes.
Nobody's even aware of that, and that's something that you just definitely opened up my eyes to. I didn't even really think about the fact that you guys are hearing one side of the story, and that's what I think is important. Like what I do when I look at two sides of the story, my side and theirs. You got to understand that, like, really everybody who ever argues or try and really be, like, kind of aggressive towards somebody really is just either arguing their point or being just looking more one-sided into things. And as a cop, you can't do that because if you do that, you're basically downfalling yourself because you're basically shooting yourself in the foot when it comes down to it. And it's a tough world, dude. And being a cop, it's got to be even tougher just because of all the dangers. People are relying on you, and then they treat you like shit when you do help.
So there's a funny saying in law enforcement, when people don't know who to call, they're going to call the cops first. So like, if dispatch gets a call, and like, hey, I don't know what this is, so we're going to send the cops first. We get sent to that, and we have to figure it out.
Netflix taught me I should call Ghostbusters when there's a problem.
Their response time might be a little long.
Now, do you know anything, like, you can give me any secret tips for, with cops, kind of like a secret thing you guys do that's not really a secret or something that the public might not be aware of, whether it's, like, a place you guys hang out at or, like, the new technology you guys have towards cars and stuff, like being able to catch a speeder, because I'm totally unaware. I just know you guys have the little gun, but I hear now, like, in Dubai, they have a thing that can shoot at your car. It's a little electronic bug thing, and it shuts off your whole car. Like, just powers it down.
I haven't heard of that, but I know that there's something called a Star Chaser, which is, actually, if you ever watched Live PD, there's a place called Gwinnett County, and they have these. So, like, say, like, I roll up behind a car, and I'm about to make a traffic stop on it, and they're like, hey, that's a stolen car. Alright, so I'm going to hit it with a Star Chaser round, which is a GPS tracker. And if it runs, we can track it. So, we don't have that here, but it's definitely out there. I think
probably in a place that would need it more than here would. Like I said, this place is not really too crime.
Yeah, it's not too crazy.
Polluted at least during the wintertime or something like that. When it comes to summer, it gets a little bit. There are weekends definitely where you hear cops come down and have to come down from over the bridge or something, like state troopers. Or
yeah, so like you're cruising in H2OI, we'll call down, like, obviously you'll have us, you'll have Ocean City, you'll have state police, you'll have Maryland Transportation Authority, stuff like that. Just to, it's all about preserving the public and preserving the town. And the reason why there's so many police officers is because there's so many people.
Yeah, I mean, one cop can't, it's the same thing when you're talking to a teacher, asking her to teach or him to teach 30 students in a class. They got to spend...
You can't watch everybody.
You can't, yeah, but you can't take the individual time each one of them needs to handle that situation. And you're asking a cop to take care of thousands and thousands of people. We have a small number of cops for the number of political stuff that goes on where people are always complaining about them, showing the bad side of cops and making the job downplay into basically rubbing its face into the dirt. Nobody's focused on bringing it up, really, and, at least news-wise. There are self-promoting people that kind of like show the good side of law enforcement, try and donate as much as possible and do as many causes to raise the awareness that cops aren't bad at all. And there's like hands up, don't shoot, and those type of stuff that get played on the news, and you're like, what is going on? Like, This is not what every place is about. Not everybody is like this. I've seen so many good videos on Facebook when I'm sitting on the toilet. Is mostly when I'm scrolling through my news feed, but I see so many good videos of cops helping children, and then the guys that make the vines that do stuff like that. Like, there are funny guys out there. There are good cops out there, and the same dude that was making a video of the black kids beating them up, and then it was all a joke, and the cop wouldn't stop laughing, and all the black kids were like joking around, laughing in the video too. Like, he's, you know, they were making fun of the stereotype that the cop is like a piece of crap, even though they were like, he's a good guy and all this stuff. It's like, it's cool to see those types of videos and like get off the bad shit every once in a while, because it feels like all we ever do is focus on the bad shit, and you wonder why everyone walks out into the world all pissed off.
Yeah, like there's a dude that he used to have Vine, but Vine's, you know, no longer.
It's not even a thing anymore.
Name his I think his like handle was Officer Daniels. He still has Instagram and stuff like that, and he's like actually really funny. And like Mike the Cop, he's funny too. And so they put like a bunch of funny stuff out there. Officer Daniels actually does a lot of funny stuff with like the stereotype of donuts. So it's actually pretty funny stuff.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember the one where he poured over that one woman. He goes, license registration. She's like, fuck off. And then he's like, okay, and walked away. He was afraid to pull her over the next time.
He was like, I'll beat your ass if that's a ticket. You're just getting a warning, man.
You're just getting a warning. Yeah, stuff like that's funny because it really cracks the joke and also lightens the job. Everyone kind of like looks at cops with a more of a strict kind of view. Like, I'm afraid to do this because he might act this way towards me. It's like, yeah, he can't be doing that though, because you know everyone's not like that. They're human beings just like us, man. You gotta treat them just as you would want to be treated. Don't treat them like, you know, if you're an asshole to him, he's gonna be an asshole to him. Don't be surprised. Now,
unfortunately, there's a point where like, you know, somebody becomes combative, where we have to do our job.
Yeah.
And like people see that and they're like, oh, that cop just. You know,
it seems like the cameras really only start rolling when the aggressiveness and the combativeness comes out.
Exactly.
Nobody's rolling before when it's just two people talking. So you don't get the full grasp of the scenario. So you got to realize, you know, like just like how people are, when you sometimes stop somebody and they're at a 10, cops are always kind of on alert. When it comes to the alert
they teach you in the police academy to be at a certain level of awareness, where you're aware of your surroundings, you're aware of things like that, but you're not at like that full on, you know, like, it's time to rock and roll, everybody's a threat, but they want you to be aware, because as soon as you get complacent, something bad will happen. And we're already at a disadvantage because we have to react to the problem that's going on. So
you're saying as soon as you lower your guard, it seems like that's when...
All the time.
It's when the situation really kind of boils down to something.
Yep. So
now, continue.
We're not, I wouldn't say we're always on guard, but we're always aware.
It's a smart way to be, man. You definitely don't want to be walking around thinking everything's peachy keen when you know the dangers too. You know, that's some people are just walking around, like I said, most people do, completely oblivious to the whole situation that's going on around us. And you know, it shouldn't be something that should scare you into not entering out into this world and, you know, enjoying every aspect of life that is beautiful about it, because there are so many beautiful things.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But you can't knock down about there are bad things out in this world. But
there are.
The world's what you make it. I don't know whose that is. It better not be Miley Cyrus that I learned that from, because I will be a little upset. But it really, I'm happy for anybody that can really take into their own passions, but also I'm happy for that we have a system of government that, yes, in ways it is corrupt. I'm not saying it's not, but in ways that there are good things out there to protect us, and we can't knock the whole system for being flawed in some ways. Everybody's flawed. People are flawed. The world is flawed. And it's all about the person and how they make their job. You know, you represent an image. It's the same thing when I asked Tyler about being a firefighter, and he told me, you know, we're representing, our brand name is on the side. We're representing a town. We're representing the city. We're representing the county. You're doing the same exact thing. And even though you're just one person, you're still representing the face. When I think of the sheriff's department, I'm going to think of Chris Burht. And that's got to be a proud feeling, too. I know that made you smile, because... Dude, that's one of the most badass jobs. I see that sheriff car, and I'm like, oh my god, that guy's got the freaking chicks hanging out the back window.
I don't know about all that, man, but it definitely, like, it's definitely a good job to, like, definitely help people.
What's the special training involved in all that?
So the academy is 6 months, and obviously you have your criminal law, constitutional law, and traffic law. But there's, like I said before, there's so many hats that we have. We do mental health, crisis evaluation. We do threat assessment and de-escalation. We do all sorts of things. How to investigate child abuse, how to investigate elderly abuse. We learn all that stuff in 6 months, and people will be like, oh, 6 months is a long time. That's pretty much a college semester. But there's so many things that go into it. Like, you're not just learning about one subject. You're learning about tons of subjects in a week.
Well, you got to get a wide variety of knowledge in just basically a short amount of time, and that's really too much to ask from anybody. It's the same thing of trying to learn 4 subjects in a semester or 4 subjects in a year. You can't ask that from anybody. That's why we have multiple grades, and it takes multiple years of learning and education to really get a high school diploma. It's like you got to spend the time and effort to actually learn the knowledge, not just kind of fly through it. Even though most kids fly through it, it's something I realized getting older, like how knowledgeable I should have, or how productive I should have been in school. Based on just kind of slacking off the whole time and only caring about things I was interested in. But it's focusing on, knowledge is there. It's free. It's available to us. And being a cop, trying to ask you guys to learn so much in 6 months is a little bit ridiculous. But you got to realize the factor. They can't keep you there for years and years and years. It just wouldn't be efficient. They need you also to learn on the job, like you were saying. Nothing's better than experience. It's the same thing. Like me talking to you, I'm getting information I would have never received if I wasn't, learning it or experiencing it myself. So it's like I'm hearing everything that you're telling me and everything you're getting. I'm getting your views. I'm getting views from the world. I'm getting views from all different aspects of it. But now I'm finally getting the view from the law itself, without me actually going and finding, a cop to interview. What cop has the time, first of all, to even take time out of their day if they're not chilling with their family in the little hours that they have off? You know what I mean? You guys are never really truly off work. You guys are always on call. And I bet that does, probably makes you think of me in a different way, the fact that I think like this. Because I know from you knowing me from high school, you probably thought I was still the same immature kid.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, life is life, you got to keep constantly evolving and things like that. And you're going to have those rocky moments in life and things like that. So it all makes you who you are. So I can say I get a call about something going on, and I dealt with a similar experience. I'd be like, oh, dude, I did this when I was in high school. Don't worry about it. It happens. Those experiences are there to shape you, not to hurt you.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I don't want it to be the selfish side of me that says this, but is there a private number I can call and text you on that if I have an emergency, you're going to show up at my house and be like, look, I called this officer and explained the situation. He's on my side 100%. You just nod your head and sit there and go, yeah. Okay.
I don't know that because that'd be a little bit biased.
What's one of the probably best things you would say about being a cop? I know you said helping people and stuff, but really, but what's the one little fun little thing you guys have or you guys do, a certain type of prank, or does it make you smile when you see the videos of the people dancing and singing to a song as the whole police department?
Yeah, definitely, because that shows you hey, we're human too. But I'll be honest with you, I can't dance. I'm not into that whole thing. Probably the best thing about being a cop is the brotherhood you have with your shift partners. You'll hang out with them. So
creating the brotherly bond, I guess, would be your favorite part?
It's definitely up there because, as a cop, you spend more time with your shift partners than you probably do your family.
Well, they are your family, basically.
They are.
When you're in a partner relationship, you see a lot of, in movies, kind of play it out in videos.
End of Watch. Perfect example. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie End of Watch, but it's about 2 LA cops that are partners. And, just the brotherhood that they share going through stressful moments, going through funny moments, stuff like that.
It's like the same thing when you have like a pet. I'm not saying that your partner's your pet or anything, but I'm saying it's a best friend. You know, it's if they die, you feel it. It's not something. It's like having it's literally a brother in arms, I would say.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's got to be a cool thing. You're getting into a whole new clique and meeting this whole new social group where they all care about. Like, same thing my Tyler was saying about being a firefighter. They're all a family there. Like, they all care for each other. They're all there for each other when they need it. They're all, like, it's basically having an extended family. And that's also why a lot of people like to get into social cliques like that, because once you feel like you connect with a bunch of people and you're there with them every day, spending hours with them, you're getting to know each other so much better, and you're not only getting their grasp of life, you're getting your own, like, more influence on just how things work, and knowing that there's someone that's not your blood, but that doesn't mean that they're not family. That just means that, you know, you guys aren't sharing any genetics, but, you know, at least hopefully if you're not making out in the squad car or something. But
yeah,
it doesn't matter. We're strictly bros.
Like we definitely, like, if it's like nothing going on, be like, hey, let's go get, you know, something to drink or something like that, like, you know, a cup of coffee or somewhere, and
shoot the shit, dude. I mean,
yeah,
definitely deserve the right to do that.
Everybody gets a break and everything, so, like, hey, let's go take, like, 5-10 minutes.
Dude, it's got to piss you off when you walk into a store and someone says, shouldn't you be out doing this and not being in here getting a cup of coffee?
I actually haven't had that, which is good. I haven't had that. I think people around here definitely are like, be like, okay, yeah, they deserve a break too. I mean, yeah, I get a break for lunch.
Because I see in movies, I see the woman's like, shouldn't you be out doing this and doing that? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't pay $20 to eat this. Sorry.
Movies kind of portray like a bad image on even how people treat us. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because I'm sure it does, but I haven't experienced it myself, which is a good thing. I mean,
I saw The Other Guys. That shows cops in the best possible way, because that is the funniest. It is fucking hilarious. Movie. But like when you,
well, I don't think it's the best way, because they did some stuff that was bad.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That movie had when
it definitely had me rolling.
When they jumped off the building in the beginning and there wasn't even a bush to land in, they just hit the concrete floor.
Well, even if there was a bush, I don't think they would have survived.
that was just too good, but. Definitely, I believe, like, that's another thing. Not only the news, but movies, and, you know, people crack jokes on cops. And then, you know, if you're doing that to someone that's got a fresh new mind, you know, still kind of learning and at a young age where, like, their brain is basically a sponge or Play-Doh, you're forming it into a bad opinion and view of the world and how we really view cops. And I don't think we should be doing that at all. I believe we should be definitely taking more time. If I had more time in my day to, you know, go out and, you know, hear more stories, like be able to interview, which I'm trying to do with getting everyone's experience. I enjoy communication. Actually, all those times I was called annoying in high school, who would have thought I would have been good at communicating with people? And when I found this passion for kind of just listening to everybody and finding everybody's story and everything, it's something that gave me, not only, it's a type of therapy too. And it's what I kind of started the basis of. Like, I'm learning about law enforcement right now. Like, you're teaching me stuff not only that I've always wanted to ask a cop, but someone that's my friend that I can level with, and he'll level with me about, like, really truly what goes on too. And technology plays a big factor in your guys' job, just with, you know, you got to make sure you guys have the newest equipment and up-to-date stuff also.
It definitely helps our job, like...
Traffic cameras, man. I mean, I don't know 100% how they work. Sometimes you see a flash. People say you'll see a flash if it goes off. And so, how many of them down here are just there for show?
I know that, like, they definitely are here. That's in place by the state. So, like, I'm not really sure, but I know that there are definitely traffic cameras out there.
Off mic type talk right here, right? Yeah. And I know there's sometimes when you guys park your cars. And you leave it there out in front for everyone to see. Is that just for show so people slow down? You don't actually, like...
What do you mean?
Because I feel like if I'm driving over the bridge and you have a car parked right there and there's no one sitting in the car...
Like in the median?
Yeah. And there's no one sitting in the car. I feel like that's just for show, so it gets people to slow down. It fucking works for me, man. If I'm going 10 over...
There's definitely places that do that, but, like, out, like, here, nobody really does that. Usually if they're sitting in the median, they're monitoring traffic, things like that, making sure nobody's speeding, anything like that. I mean, you know, just the presence of it will reduce traffic collisions and, you know, traffic infractions and things like that. So
it's a smart thing, man, dude. someone sees a car and you're pulling up behind it, or you're driving and you only see the back lights, you got to think there's someone in the driver's side, so you start slowing down, and then you see that nobody's in there, and then you start speeding up and be like, well, maybe I shouldn't because there might be another cop down the road.
Yeah. There's definitely departments around here that do it. But it's a good idea. I mean,
hey, if it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you chase down the aspect of getting a dog in your car, getting the canine unit? Like, what special training is behind that?
Actually, getting the dog is... There's a lot of training that goes into it, and there's a lot of training that goes into the dog, and
Are
then
you
having to bond with the
specifically
dog.
giving a dog to work with, or can you choose from your own?
I'm not sure how it works because I'm not a canine officer or anything like that. But if my understanding is correct, they give you the dog and like, all right, these are the commands you need to know, and then you train with that dog for a long period of time before it ever even hits the road. Like, I think the training is very extensive because you got your dogs that are drug dogs and you got bomb dogs and things like that. So it's pretty much like knowing what your dog is supposed to be used for, and then training on that, on that tool. So like if they're a drug dog, you're hiding, things, and they got to go find them. Or if they're a bomb dog, you're hiding,
doing things that's going to boost their experience in the field that you're dealing
So
with.
like if, say there's a bomb threat somewhere, and there's a bomb dog that comes in, and it sits down, or say what. Because sometimes, like, if a dog sits as an alert, or somehow if it alerts on something, be like, okay, I know because my dog is trained in bomb detection that there is something with an accelerant there. Now,
when it comes to choosing your pet, does it have to be a dog? Does it really have to be a dog? Do we have to, can I have a sloth unit on the back of my car?
Well, I don't think that'd be very effective.
Dude, nobody's pulling a gun out when I have a sloth, man. Don't shoot, I have a sloth. Oh, can't get a clear shot. The dude's, his arms are all over him. I can't get him. Something like that. But I do want to ask you, when it comes to pursuing a passion, is this a passion that you're happy with, like content with doing for the rest of your life until you retire?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like before you were saying like the military thing, like I'd still like to pursue that aspect and like, the reserves or something like that, National Guard, trying to serve in my country and my community. But like it's definitely like a passion. Like I love doing it, and I love my job, love coming out here every day and trying to, make the county a better place.
I really do appreciate that, man, and you probably don't hear it enough from people that really give you the time of day to stop and say, hey, like, I appreciate what you're doing, you're protecting me, and you're out here for my family. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's really, you guys are showing an image, and how cool you want to be when you display that image is all completely up to you, and no one's going to stop you for it, but it's also, people got to realize they can't just piss you off for a certain reason. Mm-hmm. Now, going to the aspect, I wanted to ask you of a transcendental moment. I've asked everybody that's been on the podcast about it. Usually we go off on some tangent, and it ends up totally not being answered. It's kind of a difficult question to ask. It's like a kind of an epiphany type situation, really. It's a moment of clarity where you realize life is, has meaning. It's not like, it could be you're having a rough couple of weeks and you don't seem like, a lot of kids with depression deal with it, mm-hmm. where they feel like it's never going to end. This is what life's about, just being miserable all the time. You make money and you die. You make money and you die. This is more like, I saw a sunset one time, and it was the most beautiful thing, and I think about that sometimes when I'm upset. You can have it multiple times in your life, but I'm asking, can you think of any moment right now where you've had, like, holy shit, like, this is awesome. I don't never want to lose this feeling. I'm basically like on, I don't want to say crack because you're a cop, but don't arrest me or anything. But no, well, like just that overall like highness feeling. Like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Obviously, like with any call, like good, like hot call. So like a accident with injuries, you're gonna have to go, use your emergency equipment. There's gonna be adrenaline in it, and just like that sense of like adrenaline is definitely like, wow, like this is real, but it's definitely fun, but also like there's other things like helping that little girl is definitely like, if I go to a call and people are just screaming in my face, I can just think like I helped somebody, so that was cool, and I can think about that, and I can just kind of like take a step back and just like chill, think about that for a second, then deep breath, and then deal with the situation.
And that's actually a really good moment too, because you can have that so many times,
Mm-hmm.
and especially in the career, and that also would help you stay in your career and just always kind of chasing after that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's what we all kind of like look forward to in life, is really just chasing what makes us happy and really just doing something. We all need to kind of focus on that, and I believe that that's a factor when it comes into like people that go out on nature and just want to enjoy nature and try and get a job involved in like national parks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously enjoy doing that, and they enjoy nature and protecting things. But if they can have moments like most of my transcendental moments come from nature. Comes from seeing a sunrise, a sunset, the cool air and the trees, and just like taking time to relax and really wind down. As much as you've probably noticed from me, I'm hyper. I have ADHD, and
Mm-hmm.
I tell people if I get annoying, just tell me to shut up. I'm not going to be offended by it. I don't know the limit and when to stop talking really, because once I get going, I'm motor mouth. And being able to sip a coffee at like 4 a.m. out on like the back porch after a fresh rain or something, and being able to just
Mm-hmm.
breathe,
Decompress.
oh my God, dude, it's the best feeling in the world. And it's something. Sometimes you need to sit back and take that deep breath. You need to relax, let all gears slow down and go on halt while you just take the time to sit in and just live in the moment, man. And as a cop, you can probably agree that you're in the moment constantly.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to. You can't be clouded up in any of your judgment views. You can't be in your head. You can't be in the clouds. A dreamer like me would never be able to be a cop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that I couldn't chase a passion or something, but me with ADHD, there's only two good parts about it. One, I'm thinking about everything that's going on around me, so that's perfect for being an officer of the law.
Mm-hmm.
But the second, my mind goes off on so many random thoughts. I could be trying to give a ticket. What am I giving you a ticket for? Oh yeah, that's right, speeding. Sorry, I was thinking about there's this new Taco Bell Supreme commercial I saw. You should have saw the guy, and just went off right there. And the guy's like, "What the fuck? Are you gonna give me a ticket or not, man? I ran the red light. Just give me the ticket. I'll go to court. I'll pay double. I'll pay double if you go away. Something like that. It's like I said. It's there's a specific group of people that can handle the job well, and I believe that you're doing a great job of representing our flag and representing also what law enforcement is. And I really appreciate that, Chris.
Thank you.
And I hope you continue on doing what you're doing, and you stay safe out there too, because it is a dangerous job.
Definitely.
And I appreciate you being on the podcast. Is there anything you want to ask me? Like I said, it's not just an interview between me and you. It's a conversation. You can ask me anything and talk about whatever you want to talk about.
I think we covered like all the stuff that we wanted to talk about. I think so.
Okay, there's a couple things we're going to have to talk about off mic, obviously, that some of the people aren't going to be lucky to hear, but there's going to be some secrets I know now. But thanks for being on the podcast, and hopefully have you on again soon. Be on again soon. Be on again soon. Be on again soon.